How's the reply rate roughly for SMS?
You might be surprised, about 90%.
90%.
Oh yeah, because people always have their phones on.
Where do you get your clients from for your agency?
So basically, we have different channels that we get clients from. So for example, we have a lot of Google campaigns, Google AdWords campaigns, SEO, blogging. We are already on, for example, Shopify experts page, BigCommerce experts page, OpenCart experts page,
Mm-hmm.
WordPress experts page. So we get few clients from there. We also do SMS texting for newly registered domain names
Mm-hmm.
in some areas. Like we do it in Houston since we're based in Houston, so it's easier for us to contact the client and meet with them. And we also do sometimes Facebook campaigns. It really depends on what time of the year we are, because for example, um, November and December it's a little bit slow, so we push it during that time so we get clients.
Mm-hmm.
Usually January, February we decrease the amount of advertising because we get real busy and we wanna keep going, and finish the projects that we
Mm-hmm.
are working on. We also do some press releases. We do also get few clients from Pinterest based on the mockups or the graphics that we send, like mockups or web mockups or mobile apps mockups or infographics and stuff like that.
How big is your agency?
We have about 26 developers and designers.
Whoa, where are they based? All in Houston?
We have some in Houston, about 8 in Houston, and the rest are overseas.
Did you all build it yourself? Is that your work?
Yes,
You're the
yes,
sole founder?
yes.
That's
We are
great.
also GSA vendors, so GSA stands for General Services Administration,
Mm-hmm.
which means we can work, bid, and on governments on projects for the government. I'm sorry. So, for example, if City of Houston or State of Texas they want a project, they put it in a different. They request a quote on a certain portal who are for preferred vendors and verified vendors, and we are one of those vendors. And there's only
Mm-hmm.
2,000 vendors in the U.S. for web design and development and internet marketing, like our company.
Okay, that's a good position. I found these two things quite interesting. You said the expert pages and the SMS. Can we talk about each in a row?
Sure.
So the expert pages, how does it work and how do you place yourself in these pages?
So, for example, for Shopify to apply for the experts page, you have to have, I think, 5 Shopify websites you created or designed. And then in Shopify, for example, they have it divided into different categories.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, if you do know how to set up a Shopify store, that doesn't mean that you are a developer. So they have it as designers and then or store setup and then marketing and then developers. So for store setup, you have to have 5 different websites on Shopify designed.
Mm-hmm.
Technically referrals. So you have to bring your clients and then refer it to Shopify, and it seems to be working for them. They also do get a lot of customers from it. If to become a Shopify developer, which is a big deal, you have to create some apps or you have to create some custom coding and show it to them so they can verify it and assure that you are a real developer. So not anyone can go to Shopify and say, "Hey, I want to become a Shopify expert on the Shopify expert page."
Do
Once they verify all of this, they will put you um, on their list, and you will have also to put in their logo and refer to
mm-hmm.
them some customers, and they also share some of the income that we get. So from our clients that we refer. So let's say I refer the client to them. They're charging the client whatever, $29 per their package or 179
Mm-hmm.
the highest package. every time my customer sells on Shopify or sells his customers, I get a small share of revenue. It's very little, but sometimes it's for big stores who are making 5-6 million makes a difference. It's like 500-600 additional bucks a month for the developers or for us since we referred it to them.
Well, that sounds good. And the other expert pages, do you have like a list of them where you place yourself, like
Same.
a strategy?
Yes. Same thing with BigCommerce. It's very similar to Shopify. Same thing with WordPress. WordPress is the hardest because there's tons of developers out there and they require a lot of things. But since we are GSA vendors, it's easier for us to apply. Once we show them that we are verified by the government, we are being audited every single year, and we are a legitimate company with legitimate business, then it's easier for us to prove that we exist and who we are. And then the process of approval is usually a little bit easier than any other companies.
What types of projects do you get through the GSA?
Sometimes we get, for example, projects like web designs for, let's say, City of Houston, or, for example, we designed a website for City of Houston for the hurricanes. So, when a hurricane hits Houston, the city needs to update the citizens in the area about what needs to be done, how they can claim insurance, for example, the safety procedures, etc. So this is one of the websites we've worked on, and we worked on multiple ones, like informational websites mostly.
How much percentage of your revenue comes from these sites and the GSA, roughly?
For GSA, it's small because some of the projects are very, very big, and we've been GSA vendors for the last, I would say, year and a half to couple years. Some of the projects are really big, and it's above our our size, like government projects or army projects, or so they require huge budgets, huge bigger companies, for example, like Microsoft, Google, companies over 200 employees, with more experience in that in the government business. So we're still new. We're just taking small projects for now until we get experience, so we can get exposed to the bigger one and be able to bid on those bigger ones. So I would say the government, it's about 5% of our revenue or less.
Okay, what is the majority of the revenue? Where does it come from?
It comes from web design, technically, and internet marketing. Mostly web design. We do a lot of Shopify and BigCommerce websites, e-commerce websites, technically. That's over, I would say, 60%. The other 30% comes, or 35% comes between internet marketing and mobile apps development.
Got it. And from the lead channels?
I would say 70% Google.
Google's SEO, organic?
Not organic, no, pay-per-click.
Pay-per-click.
Yes. So if you Google, for example, Shopify experts, we're always on the top. BigCommerce experts, we're always on the top. It took us a good amount of time to optimize our Google AdWords account. As you know, it's not magic on Google to get into the first page and then start making business. It takes a long time to build the campaign in the right way, to target it the right way, to choose wisely the keywords, the budget, etc. So now we're doing very well on Google AdWords, and we get a lot of clients from Google and from the experts pages that I talked to you about. But I would say about 70% is Google.
Okay, yeah, thanks. That's great information. We're already getting closer to 50 minutes. I still want to know about the SMS campaign. How do you do this with the SMS for new domains?
So for the SMS campaign, we have our own procedure. So for example, let's say you registered a new domain name today in Houston. We have our own ways to get your information from. There's a public database that you can get your name and address and phone number and email address. Okay, so we have our own code that tells me every single day who registered yesterday as a new domain name, and I filter them by state or by city. So let's say I want to target Houston today. So I filter those by the city of Houston, and then I get their phone numbers, which is technically the mobile numbers most of the time. And we have our own internal system of sending SMS. So I take these numbers, load them into our own developed internal system, and then I send them a text message, all of them. For example, are you interested in a web design? Yes or no? And then if no, then we won't contact them again. If yes, then we either call them or ask them about the size of the project so we can understand who the lead is. If it's a big company, so we can call them and go visit them, or if it's a small project that doesn't really, that we might not be interested in. So, it depends on how the customer replies and how does, how the message or the conversation between us goes.
And you narrow the search for Houston, or?
Yeah, we can do that.
And,
We can either do it by zip code if you want.
And then how many new domains do you get per day, roughly?
We get a lot. Every day there's over, I would say, 100,000 domain names registered only in the US. So you're talking in Houston about it depends honestly, you're talking about 2 to 5,000. Sometimes it's like 6,000. Like beginning of the year, everyone wants to build their own website, so the market, goes crazy. Sometimes during the year you might have, for example, in holidays you might have 500 domains. But usually on a weekly basis, I would say there is about 20,000 plus on a weekly basis, which is more than enough.
Yeah, and how many SMS do you send out?
We send as much as we want, as we can. We have as I told you, we have our own developed internal SMS tool, and it's a web application or web-based application that we created internally. Yeah. So we can send them, and then if one of the customers reply, we can just chat with them on a browser using this SMS tool. So it's not like there's a phone and we type in on the phone. No, it's a website. We go to, we see all the contacts, and then we start. If someone replies, we see it on the web.
How's the reply rate roughly for SMS?
You might be surprised. It's about 90%.
90%.
Oh yeah, because people always have their phones on, handy. So yeah, even more than 90%, believe it or not. So some people, they say, take me off your list, or number 2, which is technically take me off your list. Yeah. Or they reply, I'm interested, or they reply, I'm not interested, or they won't reply, which is very, very limited number. And I guess those numbers are technically landlines. So, part of the 10% that don't reply are landlines.
And how many leads, or how many, let's say, even clients or closers do you get from sending, let's say, 100 SMS?
We don't, to be honest with you, we don't do it that much. It's not like on daily basis we do it. We do it only on the season where we are low on leads. We're very, very busy. Okay. So when we hit a point where, like beginning of the summer, July-ish, where everybody is just going into vacation, and then December, that's mostly when we use it the most. I would say we can, out of each, maybe 1%, we can convert 1% customers. So if I send to 100 customers, I can probably close 2 or 3 of them.
So that means you don't have any problem with lead generation at all. If you need clients, you do this SMS thing, and you're good.
Correct. Yeah, we have multiple things. Yes. And sometimes we also do, like in the slow season, we do Craigslist. We have our own, own ways on posting multiple ads in multiple cities for Craigslist. But usually we try to avoid Craigslist because you get cheaper customers and customers who doesn't have, good quality budget or good budget. So we try to avoid that unless the market is very, very slow.